Hey guys, this is Hunter Levine, and thank you for listening to the Captain's Collective podcast, brought to you by Skinny Water Culture, Florida Fishing Products, Turtle Box Audio, Costa Sunglasses, and Orvis Fly Fishing. Today we have our last episode of the Into the Jungle series, where we sit down with the crew at Four Corners, Costa Rica, and discuss our most recent trip. This podcast is filled with lots of laughs and insights from things behind the scenes in our trip to Costa Rica. If you're interested in traveling with Captain's Collective and joining us as we continue to explore these amazing places, make sure to check out our travel tab at captainscollective.com. We are so grateful for your support. If you love this show, please continue to share it. Thank you for listening. This is the Captain's Collective, Into the Jungle.
Better time than now.
Cheers.
All right.
First.
Yeah. All right, guys. Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks for having
Salute.
us.
Cheers. Thanks for coming.
A great fishing and a great week.
Yeah. Well, first off, thank you guys for having us. It's been an amazing week, and I'm excited to be releasing over the next couple weeks all of the episodes. We had Donald McGinnis, we had Tosh, we had Tom Olivio. Did I say that right? Mm-hmm. And really just a fun time to come down here, see Costa Rica, go into the rainforest, see two different styles of fishing. This is just a incredibly biodiverse place, diverse with even how the geography works. I mean, one moment I'm on the beach, you're in the rainforest, you got streams, you got waterfalls, and it's been great. And I'm really grateful for you guys for inviting us and allowing us to be a part.
Of course, man. We're excited to get you guys down here. I mean, from a standpoint, seeing from afar what you've been doing within the industry, it's definitely motivating to. I mean, I want to say everybody. I mean, it's awesome doing what you're doing, following a passion or something you're passionate about, and very happy to have you guys down here. And we love sharing this experience with anybody willing to come.
Thank you. Let's do introductions so everybody can get a little bit of feel. So we'll start with you, and just you can just say who you are and kind of what you do in the operation.
Yeah. So my name is Charles Hill. All my friends call me Chuck. And I'm one of the partners in the company here. I guess I'm the one who came up with the idea ultimately, but at the same time, not trying to take credit away from anybody else. I could not do this without my team here. These guys are incredible.
Well, my name is Marvin Arturo, Marvin's son, and same thing, part of the operation. I think here we all work as cooks, we all work as mates, we all work as guides, we all work as friends, family, and we try to do our best to make every experience the best. So, we just having fun with everybody that comes here and try to build a new experience.
My name is Marvin Rodriguez. I guess I've been doing a little bit of all this stuff for a long time. Type of business, real estate, fishing, especially fishing, and Charles came up with the idea of doing this project, and I think it's just great. And one of the things that I most enjoy is exactly what the situation we're having with you guys. Mm-hmm. We all do business. We all try to do business and make a living and all that stuff. But the special part of us is we don't, like my dad used to say, we don't make a deal out of a friend. We make a friend out of a deal. So this is the thing, like, every customer that comes and we have a great time like we've been having, we become friends, and then we have a great time, and it's like a lifetime situation and a friendship and all this stuff. So we're very happy to do that.
Yeah, we're grateful to be a part of it. So as the person who's been in Costa Rica the longest, can you give us just a little bit of an overview before we get into the ins and outs of Four Corners of Costa Rica, what makes this place special, why people should put it on their radar?
Okay, well, if I go back to when I was younger than him, I was 19, I made up a decision. I was born and raised in a cattle farm and self-sustainable property with my grandpa and my dad and mom and family. And so we have to work pretty hard to, since we were kids, get work done before we could play. My dad was very restricted on that stuff. So when I was 19, I made a decision to travel to New York and then to get just to as an experience.
Yeah.
To get up there and learn the language.
Like the Taylor Swift
culture,
song. Yeah, that song was
culture and
about
all
you.
this stuff. So back then, it was funny because I used to say I'm from Costa Rica. People up in the Hamptons, they used to ask me, "Where are you from?" And Costa Rica, and everybody would go like, how is that island? Oh, it's
Do you have
not.
an airport?
It's not an island. So where is that at? It's Central America. It's a country, and then start explaining I explained that a million times. So at this point right now, which is I like it, yeah, actually, because every time I'm up there, since I've been traveling for 33 years to the States, every time I mention the name Costa Rica, I'm from Costa Rica, everybody's like, I've been there. I was there last week. Going there, everybody knows about. So I think the reason is because, it's a little country. It's a small country. It's a peaceful country, even though we've been having problems around in next door countries and all that stuff. We still keep the country secure, peaceful, and people likes tourism, which became to be one of the major's business in Costa Rica. So people learn that tourism was going to be, or it is right now one of the best industries here. And so I guess people learning about Costa Rica through the years as I'm seeing it, and finding out that yes, it's a secure place, education is good, we have great healthcare systems,
Conservation.
we have a conservation systems, and the best of the best, we have a great fishing in fishery areas here. So which I think is the most powerful thing for people to travel and come to Costa Rica and find out, because everybody talks about fishing and all this stuff. And I hear a lot of my friends up in the States and different places is like, well, we don't believe until we see it, because we understand the fishermen, they always talk about where they fish, that's the best place on the planet.
Yeah.
So I caught the best fish of my life. Oh, I caught the best fish you can ever see, and stuff like that.
I lost a huge one.
Yeah, I lost a huge one. So
it was huge.
Yeah, so everybody goes like, you talking as a fisherman, right? So it's like, no, not really.
I mean,
It's the truth.
I think from the outside looking in, to answer that question, what makes Costa Rica so special is it's, in short terms, it's an outdoorsman's paradise. There's so much to do here. I mean, you've got 12 to 13 different ecosystems scattered across a country the size of West Virginia. So making the possibility of driving amongst numerous locations, giving clients that expedition feel, or showing them different things that typically you wouldn't really experience here in Costa Rica when you're going and sitting on the beach in a rental house for a week or at an all-inclusive resort and things like that. And Costa Rica just it's extremely accessible. It's safe to get around. Most people speak English. Most places in the country accept the U.S. dollar. It's from Miami or South Florida. It's a 3-hour flight and many direct flights from across the country. It's really easy to access, really easy to get here and experience just a lot of different environments and settings that the typical traveler or American even isn't used to in their own backyard. I mean, it's truly wild down here.
So tell us about the name Four Corners and y'all's different locations and kind of what makes each one special.
I'll I'll chip away at this and I'll pass it around. But I mean, we came up with the name Four Corners because we operate with 7 different locations scattered across the entire country, all in very unique and very different fisheries from each other. And with the Four Corners name, it's because we operate in the northwest, northeast, southeast, southwest corners of this country. And granted, it's not a perfect square, but we'll travel anywhere in between to find the bucket list fish for the proper trip that people are looking for. And with all 7 locations that we offer, so we own and operate 3 of them, and then the other 4 we've got contracts and great relationships with the lodges that we operate out of. All of them are locally owned. That's a big part of our business. Is from my end, I'm the only American involved, and everything else is in the hands of Costa Ricans, in the hands of locals, so that the experience truly is authentic to those people that are traveling down here, whether they're fishing or they're with their family or they're doing an extremely hardcore trip or often remote areas. Like we really want to focus on showing them things that you're not going to find on Google, things that, like for example, I've been coming down here for years and years, and talking to other Americans, like Marvin said, oh, I love Costa Rica. I've been to Costa Rica here, and here. And we'll say, okay, where have you been? The 3 most common answers is Jaco, Los Sueños, and Tamarindo. And every time, and over the years of me coming down here, seeing the locals' kind of response to that, now I understand why. It's like, man, you're going to the place that Google's telling you to go. Let's show you the real side of the country. And with my relationship and previous work experience with these guys, it has enabled me to see this entire country and to see it from their side of it, and it blew my mind. And ultimately, I mean, after 10 years of doing it, I was like, we got to turn this into something. This is way too unique of an experience to kind of hold on to that secret recipe. We got to share it with the world. And I mean, these guys have been obviously a huge part of that. And I mean, I'll go into a little bit of some of the locations that we offer, but definitely want you guys to take over on explanation of some of them, because they literally built some of these from the ground up. I mean, so we operate, fishing-wise, we operate in the northeast part of the country, fishing for tarpon. The southeast part of the country in the Caribbean, also fishing for tarpon, triggerfish, permit, bonefish do show up from time to time there. Going over to the Pacific side of the country, here where we are in Corcovado, southwest here, basically about as far south as you can get, about as remote as you can get here. Then northwest, where Marvin's incredible beach house is, up in the Guanacaste region, and then 3 locations internally, one in the cloud forest for rainbow trout, one in the Sarapiquí area, as well as in the La Fortuna area with volcanoes and rainforests floating down rivers with rafts for machaca, which is a cousin of the piranha. And then the last location is my property. We've got a 10-acre coffee farm with a pool and a hot tub and every fruit and bird you can imagine in the backyard. It's incredible. But I mean, as far as well, I guess everybody always asks me what's my favorite place down here, and it's so tough to answer because obviously you see our business. That's why we operate in 7 locations. I couldn't whittle it down to just one, but at the same time, my favorite place is Marvin's Beach House. My favorite property on this planet. It is truly unique, and there's places like this do not exist in the world anymore. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's a unique place.
Yeah, tell us about it.
Like I say, when I decided to make the trip to New York back in the 90s, I started, I was there for 3 months, and I expand the time and the time and the time. I ended up staying 3 years. Then I made friends, and really good friends. We had a good time, back in those time I was 20, 21. I turned 21. It's like, oh God, now I can drink here, have a drink. And so I met these people that wanted to travel to Costa Rica. Like I say, they didn't know what Costa Rica was. So they got interested in knowing, what was it? Because I kept telling them, what we had and all this stuff. So it's like, all right. One day they came up with a couple, and they say, we just booked the, flights to Costa Rica, but we don't know anything. So I help them to do all this stuff, and money wise, they were afraid about what kind of money they were going to use here, how they're going to rent a vehicle, where to go, and all that stuff. I said, oh, I'll take care of that stuff. So they fell in love. Day one, they got here, they fell in love with the place. And they start going around different places. They went to the Caribbean side. They did a lot of travel in the Caribbean. Came back, went to the Pacific side, and they just went along the beach for a long time, for a long distance. They found this place. And they called me up. They say, "Hey, we found this place. We're in love with it. Can you come down and check and see, make sure that, see what, if we can buy it." So I got down there, and yes, it was a remote place. It was very remote place. To get there was only by 4-wheel drive, and one chance out of 10 that you will make it.
I think people don't understand what
But
that type of remote
first,
is like.
the first time I drove in there, I was like, I think I'm lost, because there's nothing here. So you drive in the woods, and until there is a window that opens up in front of your eyes, that you go like, oh my god. That was my first impression when I got there, and oh my god. And that impression, since back then, that was 94 actually. From there and up to today, everybody that gets there, I see the same impression for everybody. It's like, because you drive in the woods, it's a long driveway until it's like you're going nowhere. All of a sudden, it opens up. It's like you are on the beach. The house is there, and everything is right in front there. And it's the only house on the beach.
Wow.
So it's very private. Even that we don't have private beaches in Costa Rica. But this one is, it counts almost like private, because, we have all the neighbors come over, and we have a great relationship with neighbors, the community. So as being the only house on the beach, we try to help them, because a lot of people, they like to come and fish. When fish time is on there, it's amazing. So you see 20 people up and down catching fish. And a lot of people need sometimes water, restroom. They need. Even we trade. So a lot of times we trade seafood. Some people go diving, and they come back with lobsters and oysters and all kinds of stuff. And it's like, so we trade stuff. It's like, all right, you give me that, I'll give you this, and then we all eat good.
It's like a little bartering stop. Yeah, a little store on the beach.
It's like a little, it's like
trade
a
post. Marvin's trade post. Yeah.
Exactly. But it's nice, because they're all neighbors, and I know them for a long time. Now, to this day, it's been almost 30 years since we have that relation there.
Well, in a way, it's a trade post of the locals in that area, because many people don't know this beach exists. Like you can't find it. It's like he said, you got to drive through the woods and jungle to get to it until it finally opens up to this insane.
A lot of people turns around before they get to the beach, because I almost did the first time I drove there, because I thought I was lost, and I just said, well, see where I get, and then I got there, I was like, wow.
That's the one.
Yeah, it's here. But,
so let's talk a little bit about fishing, because we're here in Corcovado, and when I was talking with Chuck about all the different options we had, this one stood out to me because I was really excited about the location, being so close to the rainforest. We were with Thomas, and today we saw 4 species of monkeys in a 10-minute stretch. Just boom, 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 boom. And beautiful waterfall. Tosh took us out there. So I was really drawn to that. And then on top of that, there were 2 fish that I'd never caught that were on our bucket list, which was the marlin and the roosterfish, which we had 2 days on the water, caught multiple roosterfish, caught a marlin, caught some yellowfin tuna, cubera snapper, bluefin trevally,
rock snapper, yellowtail,
the biggest needlefish I've ever seen.
Yes, I've seen bigger, man. I've seen bigger.
Yeah.
That was a really good one though.
Was jumping. I mean, I was like, this thing's putting on a
Oh no, they're fun.
They put a show.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Did I miss anything? We were trying to figure out the species.
There's a mackerel in there.
There's
Yeah,
a mackerel.
The
Yep.
Spanish. There was a Spanish mackerel.
yeah.
Yep. Which
I'm asking because I didn't go yesterday.
we have those, but that was the first cubera. And we have mangrove snapper, which seem very similar, but like definitely their own thing.
We even saw a couple of them this morning and couldn't get them to take. But.
Well, I caught a mangrove snapper on hand line.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So you did catch them, but I wonder
That
how
was my
often.
first. That was my first fish on the
First
hand
one.
line. And
First one.
I was very proud of it. So
Yeah.
I might have been playing my angles and using a tiny prosthetic hand to make it look bigger, but it was
Got to do what you got to do.
it was big in significance.
Good
That's
job, buddy.
Just put
Yeah.
it really
Good job.
close.
I've seen
Yeah, I was
people
proud.
try they
Tosh
can't.
was trying to show me how to use the hand line, and I was sitting there, and every time I would make a good cast, I felt like a little kid, like with my dad. And I look back, and Tosh would be doing something else. I'm like, you gotta. And then every time when you make a mistake, and then you look back, and you're like, I hope you. And he's staring right at me. Because I wanted him to see the passion I had for the hand line, the yo-yo.
Well,
So
That's one of the unique experiences of Costa Rica too. Like that's one of the things the locals only do. I mean, you may not have ever touched a hand line in your life had Tosh not said, "Hey, you want to try this thing out?" And
Let me say something about this. Now you know those plastic reels, the hand line.
Yeah, the yo-yo. That's
Yo-yo.
fancy.
We call it yo-yo.
I want a
This is-
carbon fiber.
This is this is fancy stuff because the old people, the older people. I still see people there at the beach in Mar Vista, especially, fishing with a piece of wood, and the line is wrapped around a piece of wood, and they cut a handle, so you grab the handle and you reel. It's the same thing. It's just like a piece of wood. It's just a plank that it has a little thing so the line doesn't doesn't slide out. But they are masters casting with that thing.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Like I've
how
seen
good they
fishermen
are.
that they will do not cast that far.
Yeah.
or they won't even. Those fishermen won't even use a rod. Like
No,
they're-
they don't
you
use-
show them. You
they
show
don't
them
know
a
how to
rod
stuck in
and
their
they're
ways.
Like, nah, you
They don't.
you
They
fish
don't
for
know
that.
how to
I'll-
use the
I'll do
rod.
my thing.
Yeah.
Now, do not touch that line right there. They have that, and they have their favorite hand line on a piece of wood and all that stuff. But that's their goal. It's like that's jewelry right there. Don't touch it.
I'm into it now. I'm deep in
Yeah,
that culture.
it's
so
fun.
I'm looking for
It's
I'm-
fun until you catch a ray.
So
Well,
catch
excited
a
to see
ray,
the.
and boy, that gets you in trouble.
We're
So
excited
one of
to
the
see
good
some
ones-
tarpon videos back on the hand line, though. I want
Yeah,
some
yeah,
of that.
one of the good
Return.
ones because the small commercial fishermen's, that's all they use. So 4 or 5 guys go out in a small boat out there and they fish all night, and that's what they do with a hand line. They just drop and catch bait. So it's a lot of work.
Well,
Sometimes
there's very
it's-
few points of failure on it, though. I mean, it's a very simple thing. It's not like a reel, and you're not having all
It's a
these.
simple thing until you catch the wrong fish.
like marlin.
Because
It
most of
happens
the
a lot.
time they're looking for a small fish. They call it here plate for a plate. So they it's a whole fish. They cook the whole fish. They fry it, and they serve it on the plate with other stuff. Oh my God, that's so
A
good.
little snapper.
The snappers, especially snappers. Yes.
Yeah, well,
But a lot of sometimes they're catching this size snappers, and they put like 3 hooks, and to a lot of times they bring 3 fish up. But when a big guy shows up, or 2 of them, and they get on the line, they're only using a hand line, and they start getting in trouble. That's when you get all line marks on your arm, and it bleeds, and you see these fishermen. So a lot of them,
Yeah,
they have.
Tosh showed me. Yeah, he's got
Oh yeah,
marks on his arm.
They have scars, and I mean the line hits you so hard that it leaves scars in your
a
arm.
lot of these guys, they get those scars because when they are fishing for that, like most of the time when the bait is going down, tuna and even marlin and sails or wahoo, they just grab it.
Yeah.
If you're lucky, you get a wahoo, it'll cut the line. But most of the time is marlin and sails or tuna. So they say most of the times when the line is going, it just stops. They already know they're in trouble at that point because they usually gotta hang on. They know they're gonna, eventually the lead is gonna come out. and they're just gonna jump and they're gonna throw the bait away. But most of the time, they're just end up with a cut in their hand and just keep rolling.
But they don't want to break it off because
they don't want to, because that's
It's
their tool to fish, and they
want to
every inch counts.
add
every inch of
line,
line counts out there. So they really try to keep it as
Just
much
another
as
scar.
possible.
Yeah, well, and speaking of marlin, day one we went out with Tosh and did a podcast with him that will be coming out in the next couple of weeks. And we did rooster fish and kayaks and paddle boards, which the paddle board was amazing, and to start the day, to start the trip, you're going out on the paddle board, you got your turtle box speaker on there. It's like completely waterproof, and just, I hit that Moana soundtrack as we walked out. There's these mountains out here, and, to be able to, I would say to be able to experience the trip right off the bat. And the thing I loved about the paddleboard experience, was that it was just so slow. It kind of caused me to take a little bit of the surrounding in, which I really appreciate, rather than getting on a boat and, going super fast. Yeah. And then, so we were targeting rooster fish with Tosh, which was great. And then day two, because of the weather, that was our opportunity to go offshore and bill fish, which I have not done bill fishing. I mean, I live in the Gulf. You got to go a long way.
Oh wow, you never done that?
Yeah, you have to go a long way to billfish. Now I've done like kingfish, and I've done some things and people will catch sailfish and out of Destin and places like that. There are some sport fishing operations, but growing up, I didn't have the opportunity and access to anything like that. And you have to go so far. It's a really big ordeal. And so, I'm going out there and everything's new to me with that. Seeing the outriggers, seeing we were teasing fish up. We had some sailfish come and take half the bait 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, they were playing games on us.
Yeah.
We got some sancocho there, as we call it here.
Yeah. And I've never been much of a trolling guy. So, we would like troll for grouper or troll for kingfish when I was younger. And but the size of the boat and having everybody with me was kind of fun, because you can talk and kind of, you're relaxing, you're looking out in the spread. Is that what it's called, the spread?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
so you're looking out in the spread, and then all of a sudden, something, you'll see it pop up, or, the first one was a sailfish. Saw them start to come up to the teaser.
They come wash on there. That
It was exciting. Yeah.
You
Because
get your heart pumping.
Yeah, everybody's kind of like started falling asleep or getting distracted, and all of a sudden you hear the captain screaming, and you hear a real screaming going out. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
and it's
and
like,
it's
game on.
very
Game
visual.
on.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's not visual until it is.
yes,
One moment you're just staring into the abyss, and the next moment you're looking at a 300-pound
yep,
fish that's very visual,
Yep.
Thrashing around,
Yep.
throwing its bill out the water. And that was such a unique experience too for me, just, because we were 5 miles off when we caught that
Yes.
fish.
yes,
We had went,
yes,
past 20 at one point, but when we caught that marlin, we were not that far from the shore either.
no. Actually, we did the test. We test 20 miles. We
13.
found a couple schools of dolphins and birds and all kind of stuff. And we found a lot of tuna, as you remember. They were not
That was
big, but it was kind of fun.
That was very exciting for me, because I love
So-
poke tuna.
So, any time did you ever have the experience to have sushi
Yes,
that early in the morning?
not
with
that
the
early in
fish-
the morning,
With
and
the
not,
fish that we
That
we
fresh.
caught. Like,
That fresh.
not under those circumstances, and not so. I mean, that was right off the bat. We caught those 2 little,
So it's like,
yellowfin.
it was
They're
like
the perfect
the beginning.
size.
It's like
yeah.
we put the lines in the water and boom, we have
Breakfast.
fish. on
Yeah.
it.
It was
we had-
perfect. Yeah.
So
It was very good.
I was hoping for that, because I really needed to eat breakfast, and I was really hoping I was gonna have fresh tuna as a breakfast,
Yeah.
and it did happen. So that was awesome.
Well,
That was-
I didn't. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go with y'all that day. But I obviously I know what y'all experienced. It is incredible. Just the the feeling like you're in a Nat Geo documentary, like all seeing a school of 1,000, 2,000 spinner dolphins jumping around you, hunting with tuna, and birds diving, and just action going off. Like
raising the dolphins, trying to beat them, getting in front.
The thing is when you see a school of dolphins like that, you try to cast them. There's so many. They're so tied to each other. It's like you're afraid you're gonna hook the back of one of them or something. It's like, I mean, it's like, where should I throw the popper or the hook, because there are too many, and all of a sudden they go down and the tuna comes up.
Yeah.
And game on.
And they were like little footballs just shooting out the air.
Yes.
And
Oh
really.
my God.
And we had a photographer with us on this trip, Charlie Shalley, and he got some amazing shots of of all the species. Got some amazing shots of the marlin, which was really special to me. And so that was just such a fun experience, and then very different. We went out and we did, rooster fish, Cubera snapper. My cousin Jarrett caught what was considered to be a candidate for the world record, bluefin trevally. We found out that the record was a little higher, but I knew that was special when Donald McGinnis came out and took a photo.
Yeah, he wanted a picture.
Because it was the only time I saw him.
You don't see him
show
take
emotion.
He doesn't do.
That's the
He
only
was like,
time he
hold
showed
on.
emotion.
Yeah. And so then I was like, because I don't know much about the species, so I'm like, but when I saw him do that, I was like, okay, that's a big fish. Yeah.
Like Charles says, it didn't happen for me to go yesterday, but bluefin trevally is one of my favorite fish, and they're tough.
And
they're real tough to catch.
And I was very surprised because they don't look like a fish that would eat as well as they do, but just because of my experience with jacks.
they're very aggressive,
extremely violent.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you saw the first one that I feed.
Oh, I mean, eat like the ceviche we ate.
Yes.
No, they look like they got the forked tail. They look very aggressive.
I agree.
Like they just with, their cousin being the jacks that we have, not great ceviche, but and you made some amazing ceviche with that, and that was up there with ceviche. I don't know if you want to let any secrets out, but
thank you. Well, it's simple. Good fish, good lemons, and whatever you want to add, not too much. The simpler you make it, the better it is.
Well, how I'll add it is the lemons here are very different than what we're used to back in the States.
Yes.
They're very. So if you go out to the grocery store and try and buy some lemons and
No,
replicate it, it's not going to happen.
And the other thing is you massage each lemon for 4 to 5 days for a couple hours, right? He's like just sitting on the porch massaging
I let him,
it. Yeah.
I told him to do
Tenderizing
that.
them. Yeah.
I mean, I learned that from in Guanacaste with the native people around the house, our house there at the beach. All these fishermen, I mean, they made it. They make ceviche kind of simple way, because a lot of people likes to add
many
different
things,
stuff, many
Too
different
much.
things.
Too much, yes.
Yeah. My dad never makes it the same twice. He's always, and it's always
I
good.
only have
yeah.
one way to make it, and
Yeah.
it doesn't change. But the quality of the fish have a lot to do. But to me, the blue trevally is number one. It's number one, definitely.
I was excited. As soon as I saw the first one coming out, I was like, oh boy, we're getting ceviche tonight.
Well, the only problem was Jarrett caught all of them.
Yeah.
That was a
Like,
problem.
He caught all.
Well, he caught.
Got all the
He caught-
trevallies.
he caught all three.
He
He caught all
caught
three.
like 6 or 7 species yesterday.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He was checking through the species box. He's a little upset about the size of his rooster fish, so don't bring it up. But no, I mean it was I mean, from a bucket list standpoint, knocked out a ton of species, and then even like hanging out talking with you guys, the idea of, well, today when we were walking up to the waterfall and we were in this stream that particular stream doesn't hold trout, but it felt like I was in a stream in Tennessee or somewhere just navigating the rocks and a warm stream, a lot warmer than Tennessee, that particular stream. But and you guys are telling me about the rainbow trout, which is neat that you have that here. And it's not something I would really think of. And then you guys were telling me about, kind of going out on the river and fishing the fruit. It's not a fruit hatch; it's a fruit fall.
Yeah.
Is that a consistent thing, or is there only certain times a year when you're targeting them?
It's pretty consistent. It happens all over the year. I mean, they will always be eating that tree, like that seed. But there's a specific time of the year that is more active. So it's kind of like the beginning of the season and the end, not in the middle when everything is falling, because the fish is too, they already ate a lot, so they're not hungry. So you want to go and basically they're starving.
And you're throwing a fly. Give us the full walkthrough, because this is right now, as it sits right now. I'm very intrigued by it.
He's the expertise in that.
And you don't call him piranha.
Machaca.
Yeah.
They call him machaca.
But I want to call him piranha because piranhas
sounds cool.
They look like
they look
like a piranha.
And they're related.
And their teeth are
mean.
very close to it, but they don't attack people.
You don't want to stick your finger in their mouth.
Yeah.
No way.
So, all right, give us the walkthrough, because that's up on my list next, maybe.
Machaca is something not many people probably knows about it, or they are actually like intrigued to go fish for it. But I encourage people to do it, because no different than Thomas explained it is. This is a small tarpon. It's like, hey, let's go trout fishing, but instead of a trout, you're fishing for machaca, which is a small tarpon. It jumps, it fights a lot. The topwater action is incredible because you're fishing surface all day long. It's a little bit tricky because this fish can take the most expert fisherman in the world, and it will teach him that
you need to learn more.
You need to learn it. Yeah, like everything you knew about fly fishing or conventional fishing, it goes out the window. It's like you got to start from scratch. You got to figure your way out. And there's not a specific manual that anybody can follow further than get on the raft,
until you
start
try.
casting, start doing, there's a basic though, how you cast, which is, like slapping the water as hard as possible, creating noise, making sure the slack of the line is, that line you're following the line with your rod, pretty much, the small details. But further up, how you're going to set the hook is under you, because you got 0.2 seconds to do it. So most of the time, you're gonna fail. And not long ago, we did a video and some footage with Free Fly, and we had two amazing fishermen. I gotta say, two of the best fishermen I ever met. We got Alec Lucas, and then we got Sage. And it's funny because at the end of the day, the cameraman was the one that killed the day, and because he figured out his way. But it kind of was a way to see, like, hey, he got lucky. He got lucky.
But see, that's always the cameraman, because our cameraman first day.
That's what we were laughing.
What a nightmare situation. So we had take it back a couple steps. We had some luggage issues with the flights down. So I was backup cameraman, but unfortunately, cameraman number one hooked into a rooster, and I couldn't be there to take the photos or videos of it because I was picking up the luggage from the airport, and it was late to the party, unfortunately. But
and forgot my shorts.
Ended up being the cart girl, bringing all the beers and stuff out on the boards to everybody, and then I forgot the shorts.
And so then I paddleboarded with no bottoms on.
It happened. You got to do what you got to do.
Hey.
That's what it takes.
But no, So once you hook them. You're saying they're a lot like a tarpon?
They jump a lot. They have a lot. Well, it depends. We have some big ones. Usually when they're like a medium size, they like to jump. They fight against the current. They use the current to their favor. They look for trees. They get wrapped up. So, I mean, like I said, a lot of times...
Do you wade for them? Do you go out of a raft? What type of boat do you use?
I mean, you can use a raft. You can use a paddleboard. I did it on a kayak. It's kind of fun. It's also a little bit tricky, because you're in a kayak. You're fly fishing, so there's sometimes you get some rapids, and you're like, all right.
Well, the new paddleboards with the trolling motors.
Yes, that helps a lot. Yeah. But I think like the best way to do it is definitely in the raft, because you have people so experienced with our fishermen, which is Norman. He's our guide in Sarapiquí. He's a hell of a fisherman. He was taught by the best of Costa Rica, which is Peter Gorinsky. And this man, he just knows his thing. Like he just magic. Like he's like, hey, put your fly right there. And
What
boom,
location do you stay at when you do these?
That's a deriva. So it translates in Spanish to drift, but that's in the Sarapiquí River where we fish for the machacas.
Okay. Because I think in my mind that's my next one I want.
So typically, what we do with that trip, it's a lot of times people they don't come down here just to fish for machaca. A lot of times with that location, it's mixing in an expedition. It's going from Barra to Deriva over to Mar Vista and getting the whole spectrum of what we can offer down here as far as species go.
The thing is, when you do a couple of days of tarpon fishing or like heavy stuff, do the river, drift on the river and catch these guys is so much fun and relaxing because it's like just floating in the jungle. There is nothing, and it's
Floating in silence with
silence and birds and monkeys,
canopies
on
of
top
trees,
you.
monkeys swinging over you.
The way that I want to do it though is I want to take my yo-yo and just put a little seat on
Absolutely.
You can make it happen.
Yes,
Absolutely.
you can.
No,
do
it's
that.
It's
Has
not necessarily
Tosh
going to
done
be
it?
this way. It's going to be this way because you got to slam it.
Oh yeah. Has
Or
Tosh
just-
got one? That's really my goal. I gotta go back and do a redfish, just to catch something on the
Hand line?
Yeah. Let's start a new rivalry. Yeah.
Hey, let me know if you're trying to go up to Charleston. I'll head home and we'll.
Well,
make something happen.
I'm thinking topwater. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Little
We'll see.
gurgler,
Well, I'll keep you posted.
little gurgler on the hand line.
Well, it's got to be weighted. I'm thinking. I'm just going plug. I mean, at this point, it doesn't have to be a fly. I'm using a yo-yo. I mean, it's I think we can give me some grace. But yeah, that sounds like an amazing location. So you guys have the tarpon, the river tarpon. Tell us a little bit about that because it's a unique style of tarpon fishing also.
It's awesome. Who wants to take it away? It's
That's you, Charles.
tarpon used to be my favorite fish, but rooster just absolutely stole my heart. But where we go fishing for tarpon it's so unique. It's incredible. Both locations we go. I mean, they're both on the Caribbean side. Granted, tarpon now they come through the Panama Canal and they're being caught in the Pacific as well. But Caribbean side is special. It's extremely remote. To either location you go to, it's a trek to get there, but getting there, that's half the experience. Like driving several hours throughout the country, seeing all these mountains, jungles, and everything, and then getting to this a river where you've got to then ride another 45 minutes. It's lined with crocodiles and I'm not talking about little puppy alligators. We're talking about 15, 20-foot dinosaurs on the sides of these rivers. And obviously you don't want to go swimming in those locations. Like you get to the lodge you're at on the where we take our clients. It's a lodge, closest lodge to the mouth of the river that dumps into the Atlantic Ocean. And tarpon is a conglomeration of them that just sit right in the mouth of that river there. And it's this beautiful lodge that the locals that own it are incredible people. His wife is, no offense to Mama here, but his wife is the best chef in this country. The mixture of the Caribbean style of food with, she had also she has some experience with cooking in the States and her mixing in the southern United States. So her mixing those two.
That Caribbean Southern fusion.
Yes.
Ooh,
Yes.
it's
Jerk fried chicken.
I will. So with this fishery, we go fishing in the morning, and it's the closest lodge to the actual fishing grounds of anywhere on the river. So once you're done fishing in the morning when the bite's hot, you come back when the sun's highest in the sky, hottest of the day. You eat this incredible food, and then you have an hour-long siesta. It's very hard to get back up off of that siesta after that food. But then again, the bite's hot in the afternoon and at dusk and everything. It's not uncommon to jump 20 fish in a day. And I mean, we did it on a couple promotional trips, and one of them, I mean, granted, one day was blown out by weather. The next day we had a half day of fishing, and they jumped like 12 fish in 2 hours, something like that. And it would have been more, but we had to leave that spot to go to another lagoon in that same area to go after some other species and stuff. So it's truly unique. I mean, I've had some of the craziest memories I've ever had fishing while being there, and it's a special place. I mean, one of the stories I told you earlier in the week, a couple of years ago, I was out there fishing in a tournament with a bunch of friends, and man, we saw somewhere between 5 and 10,000 tarpon, like free jumping and feeding, and I mean in every direction you could see, as far on the horizon. It was insane, and I wish I had my camera for that, because it would be on National Geographic. It would be on Planet Earth. It was. I can't wait to get back there and film it when it happens, because it only happens a couple times a year. It's you got to be there, right place, right time, sort of a deal. But it's incredible. That is the place, from my experience. That's the place in the world to go, for somebody to go to learn how to fight tarpon. Not necessarily from a sight fishing standpoint like in the Keys, but going there and feeling the pull, feeling the tug, understanding how hard you can pull on this fish, set your drag, stuff like that, because you're going to have shots at 20 fish a day. And it's truly unique. I mean, I want to say that's where you learned how to fish for tarpon.
I learned to fish for tarpon there, and I got humble. I got humble in my first 30 minutes of being there. Not even 30, and I say 30 minutes because it took us a little bit to anchor up, because that day we were anchored up right at the mouth of the river because it was too rough to go out. And I just grabbed the smallest rod I found, the smallest jig head I found, and I think I put like a 50-pound leader. I was like, because I didn't know what I was doing. I was just out there, and I was like, let me just do a few casts. Let me see if I can catch a snook. Let me do something. First cast, throw the jig head out there, just reeling. Boom! Something hits the jig,
Freight
and then
train.
absolutely smoked me. Like in 3 seconds, that thing was up in the air. It was like 80 pounds, and my jaw just up. Like, I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's like I have this tiny rod. Like, this thing is gonna break like a toothpick. I'm like,
Was that my rod?
no. Thankfully,
Thankfully,
I'll be swimming.
Thankfully, it was a little fish. 'Cause you didn't know what he was
I'll be
doing
swimming
then.
behind
either.
that fish.
You had to learn on the fly.
And 7 seconds after, jig head is out, hook is bent, and I'm thankful that happened, because I was in trouble. But I was like, what just happened? So I'm like, hey, Jump as our captain. I'm like, Jump, hey, do you have another rod, like a bigger rod? He's like, yeah, absolutely. Here, grab this one. They use a lot of big jig heads. They tie them up specially. They do it themselves, kind of like a fly, no different than a fly. He's like, hey, use this one. Boom, second cast. Boom, hit a 100-pounder. Miss the hook set. I'm like, what is going on? Like, what am I doing? Like, what's happening? Like, third cast. Boom, another hit. Lost it. Another one hits. And it just keep happening and happening. I'm like, all right, I don't know what's going on. That day we ended up like in less than 4 hours with more than 10 to 15 bites between fly fishing, me and myself casting conventional. I was like, okay, like this is absolutely insane. This is crazy. I ended up catching 2 fish that day, but I had so many opportunities, which, with tarpon, again, even the most experienced fishermen, they're gonna miss fish. Like there's no way. And yeah, there's a lot of people out there, they will say, yeah, well, I can catch, if there's 10 bites, I can catch 10 bites. I believe you, but at the same time, tarpon is a little bit, complicated. I learned that really fast.
Yeah.
And that day, I also learned in one day how to fish for them, to the point where it's kind of hard to miss a hook set on them. But at the same time, it's like, where can you do that? There's just not another place you can do that. You have so many opportunities, and if you're a person that you want to learn this fishery, you want to look for tarpon, but you just don't have, it's like, okay, you have 1 bite a day, you have 2 bites a day. It's not that you don't want to miss those shots. So I really encourage people that they want to go out there, they want to learn how to fish for this, they want to train, they want to practice. It's like, this is a really, like, we can make it happen for you. Because that's the same way as I learn, and many other fishermen. Because you can try, you can learn, you can lose.
You have a whole day
you can practice.
to try.
Like it's crazy. It's crazy, but it's like you can practice to fish for tarpon, and then you can start going up and okay, no, I want to go fish for tarpon on the Keys. I want to go, I want to sight fish for tarpon. I want to go to the river in Cañonero. I want to go look for because you're fishing for tarpon in the river, and out of the blue this thing jumps on top of a tree. That there's not a book, there's no manual on how to fish for that. It's like you got to be,
Now, I want to encourage you to do catch a tarpon on the hand line.
Oh boy, that's a good one.
That would be nice.
Yeah. Well,
And you know
first
what?
I need to break the 1 pound
Well, you know what?
ceiling. First. That's an important one.
But you know what?
Double-digit
we
ounces.
can make a deal. The day you come and you go doing headline tarpon fishing, I'll do that with you too.
All right.
We're gonna catch a fish, and maybe all of us. We go on.
Come on down to Barra. Let's try it out.
We'll go and catch a tarpon on the headline.
Oh, thank
and
God I
see
got a
it.
lot of
What I-
fingers.
What I will say against what Arturo, take a couple steps back on what Arturo was saying. Granted, that first day he went out, he landed at 80 and 100, I think is what it was. But most of the fish that we're hooking into, between 125 200 pounds.
Yes.
So you're dealing with a
Yes.
freight train every time you're
Yeah.
hooking anything. And
There was
it's-
one that is almost pulled me. I just saw it when it was like 200 meters far away. I just
Yeah.
saw this thing pulling out of the water, and I mean, the size that I've seen it
Those
so
guys,
far, I was
those
like,
200 pounds one. They only show their head out there in the water, and they look like a big bucket.
Mm-hmm.
They don't jump up. They don't go crazy out there. So in terms like the roosters,
Mm-hmm.
when you say your cousin caught a small rooster, when you catch many roosters, you actually want to catch one that is like, not the little one, but the mid-size.
Mm-hmm.
The big ones, they don't want to come out. They just go
They look
down
for the
and
rock.
try to stay down as far as as much as they can. The mid-sized roosters, they go crazy. They
Oh
jump.
yeah, we had one.
Yeah,
jump.
we had one.
We had
Yeah.
one.
we had
jump.
one jumper. we
It
got
was
one jumper.
it was
It was a
s-
medium-sized. So it was
Okay.
like it was between 30
That's
and
what
40
I'm
pounds.
saying.
Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is fun.
It put
Yeah.
up a show. It
That
put up a
is-
show. I was happy it put up a show.
Yeah, and it
They
was
put up a show.
the
I love
waves
the
were
little
pretty
one.
big, so you could see them like eye level in the waves at certain points and everything.
Yes.
Yeah, it was great. And as we close, one of the guys who's on the trip with me, Joe, he said, there's two types of fun. There's the type of fun that's just like it's there only when you're in the middle of it, and there's the type of fun where it might be something really challenging, and you look back and you're like, oh, that was amazing. And he said the first type, that's like bowling. You go bowling, you're like, I had fun, but like 5 years down the road, you're not like, "Whew, I'm so glad I went bowling that day." Like
was
what an
amazing,
experience. I was knocking it out the park. But
not going to sleep at night.
No
like
offense.
thinking about that bowling
Yeah.
trip. It's the
No-
fish, on the
yeah.
other hand.
No offense if you love bowling, but he was saying, but the second type, that's going to be the most meaningful moments in your life. And there's out here, there's the roads are rough, and we're walking down these trails that are crazy, and there's a lot of challenges. The seas were big the second day. But for me, this was a trip that my dad was able to come on with me, which was really special. And there was a lot of father-son things happening throughout this
I could
weekend.
see
Tosh
that.
to his father,
I could
you
see
two,
that,
Donald talking. And so for me, to go through this experience with him was really meaningful. And I think that some of the wildness or the unconventional pieces of what it looks like to travel and to come to this place made it even more special.
So, can I ask a question about the place where we're staying, actually, where we are right now? How do you feel like late afternoon, getting dark, and very early in the morning? Because if your alarm clock doesn't go off, you have a million parrots and macaws
Yeah.
and chirping right on your ear. So either you get up or you get up, because
Yeah.
they will get you up.
Yeah, no, this location, well, one, it's we're sitting on this big patio, and if you're listening to audio, you can't see it unless you're watching the video version, but we're sitting on this big kind of porch, and you got these kind of small, simple, kind of minimalistic cabins, but you're right here. You got a little beach area. You can chase roosters right off the beach. You got all the macaws, and I'm FaceTiming my girls, showing them birds, and according to Thomas, you can count 43 species from this chair of birds. So there's a lot of the wildlife. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't go off to get into wildlife. It was amazing, and I just want to thank you guys again for the opportunity. I look forward to many more locations and many more occasions for us to get together and fish. And
So the deal with the headline tarpon is on.
it's on.
We'll make it happen.
It's on.
We'll make it happen.
From our side, much
By-
appreciated,
by-
Hunter.
By the way, we need to pour a little more of the frigate
Yeah.
reserve rum. And so, because
Salute. Thank you guys.
we're down.
But at the same time, Hunter, thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah,
thanks for
thank
coming
you.
and joining us,
Thank you,
seeing
man.
kind of
Appreciate
what we
that.
do on a daily basis, and look forward to showing it to you. And I love the fact that your dad came on this trip. When you asked me if he could join, I was like, oh man, game
Yeah.
over. I
That's
love
great.
he and Marvin are
I
going to
got
be peas
along.
in a pod.
Oh, yeah,
They were,
I got
man.
along
That
with
was
him real good.
There's
awesome.
a long-term relationship there, so
Yeah.
thank you
Excellent.
guys.
Well, yeah, again, thanks,
I got-
brother, and can't wait to see you again.
I'm invited to go fishing with him up in
Care
up
about
in the Gulf.
And in
Yeah.
return, your
'Cause
family is
he-
always welcome down here.
Because we have a race now. Because we couldn't hook a cubera. He missed the cubera, and I was like, all right, we're going to do a race. Let's see who catches a cubera first.
There you
We
go.
didn't have enough time, but hey, that's coming up.
You missed a monster.
Yeah.
But that's another story for another time.
That's right. Thank you guys.